Welcome to Crypto Simulation Theory. I'm the Gaussian Snake. Tonight, I'm going to talk about what's going on with Bitcoin in December and why we're dumping instead of pumping and how much longer that this might last. None of this is financial advice, but let's go ahead and get started. So I have Bitcoin pulled up on the weekly time frame. And you can see, just as we've talked about in this channel, where you're struggling right at the 1.272 fib level, and we're likely to range and decline a little bit here, and I'll show you why. A lot of people think that there's some like mysterious reason behind it, but it really just comes down to overbought and oversold, and that's really all you need to know. I want to point something out that is kind of interesting too. If you go back to the 2016-2017 bull run, really does share some similarities with our current run in a lot of ways. So if you, I mean, obviously there's some differences too, but if you look at the way that this parabolic move happened, a lot of people think it just went straight up, but there were a lot of pumps and then ranging and then a pump and then ranging. Granted, a lot of this was in an uptrend, but keep in mind some of these were red weeks as well. Like we had 3 red weeks in a row in March of 2017. We had quite a few in the summer of 2017 and again in September. So and this is back when Bitcoin was more volatile and a lot quicker moving. Over time, due to diminishing returns and diminished volatility, I think, what you're seeing is a parabola forming. It's just going a lot slower than it's gone in the past, which means that our bull market is likely to last longer than what we might anticipate. So let me prove to you that Bitcoin was indeed overbought and in need of a correction. So this is nothing mysterious. There's no nefarious reasons behind this other than just the simple fact of overbought and oversold. This is a metric that has been very reliable for me. This is the Money Flow Index Oscillator Volume Profile Trendoscope. Anything above the green line is considered overbought. Anything below the red is considered oversold. You can see in July of 24, we hit oversold and then started to climb back up. And then we got above the overbought region. And this is a region that we don't tag super often if you go back in Bitcoin's history. Okay, so it's suggesting that we are indeed overbought right now, or we were overbought on December 9th, and we're in need of a correction. Okay, so that's just one metric. I'm going to show you. This is the wave trend 3D, and it's showing a clear divergence forming in the red zone. The red zone is overbought. The green zone is oversold. And when you get red dots, that generally indicates that you have a bearish divergence forming. I think we're going to see a red dot form fairly soon, and we're going to come down. I don't suspect we'll be down for long. If you look at 2016, 2017, we could be seeing something like this kind of playing out where, we come down and then come back up. I think something like this could happen just on a more protracted time scale. It won't look exactly the same, of course. No two cycles are the same. But see how the green is sort of curving down? That is suggesting that a correction is underway. Another metric suggesting a correction that will continue is likely is a stochastic oscillator, which is just crossed into the purple zone. It is underneath 80. We've seen this happen in bull markets before, and it can come down, come back up, come down, come back up. But generally, if you're going down in the purple zone, you're going to at least go to like the level of like 68 or so before you come back up again. My base case is that we do come back up. Okay, I don't think we're just coming straight down. I don't think this is going to be a particularly long correction. A few weeks at most is kind of what I'm eyeing, and the market should wake up by I would say at the latest, the middle of January. I think it'll be before then, honestly, but at the latest, this correction would last like maybe a month. I think that would be the most you would see out of this correction. And I think the RSI could get down somewhere here in the purple zone. Honestly, it could just be a few weeks as well. I mean, we don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but from the wave trend, it seems like it's going to take at least, longer than a week. So I think we're going to continue moving down. And I drew this red zone a while ago. This is between 84,500 and 88,500. That's kind of my target zone for a reversal. Honestly, we're just going to form like another bull flag, I think. And I've shown this before, but I'll just, it's good to repeat things sometimes. The weighted logarithmic Bollinger Band, you can see that we got kind of like caught up on the top side of it. Whenever that happens, you tend to kind of revert back to your mean. And I think the mean line is probably going to cross through this red zone fairly soon. Maybe it's hard to say exactly when price would come down into here, but it could be like first week of January. It could be last week of December, close enough to getting to this median line, I think, where we could straddle it and then probably, build out a nice bounce off of that. If we look at our alligator, I mean, the alligator's still awake. Okay, so still a bull market, still a bull trend. It's just a cool off, and in fact, the top of the alligator moving average, the mouth of the alligator is at 89.3K. So, you know, we've got room to run here. I mean, we could even hit the red line, which is coming up, and still be just fine. We've got a green Gauss ribbon that's just starting to widen. That's very bullish. We've got the Gunnar EMA bull market support band. So, I mean, as long as we stay above the red, which is at 78.1, the green is at like 88.2. I mean, honestly, I think we'll probably stay in this region. I don't think we're coming down into the 70s, but even if we did, it wouldn't be a big deal at all. Wouldn't be a big deal. I don't think we're going to, though. I think anything under 90K is probably going to be bought up pretty quickly. But I think we will go under 90K. I mean, I think though there's a high probability of that happening. In terms of our linear regression channel, I mean, this is two standard deviations away from the mean in the center. Look, we got pretty high. I mean, we didn't make it all the way to the top of the channel, but that's probably a good thing. So, maybe we just kind of roll over here a little bit and eventually inflect and start to head back in the other direction into 2025. And maybe that's where we hit the top of the channel. Could be in February, could be in March. But I do anticipate we are going to hit the top of this channel. And if I put the fibs back on, let me just do that real quick and we can see what that would coincide with. So if I put the fibs back on, you can see that the top of the channel in like late January would be around 130,000. If we get above the 1.414, maybe in March, we could go to 140,000. There's a part of me that thinks we're going to preserve this channel. So, and not break out to the upside. I don't want to, and I think some of that is just me not wanting to see that happen, because if we start to go to the 1.618 fib and get above this, that puts us in danger of being in a cycle top. And I'll show you why in a second. Bitcoin is currently at 61.3 risk. Just for reference, zero risk is $35,330.85. That's like major bear market territory. And 100 risk is $183,447.04. This is why I'm very scared about us getting to the 1.618 too soon, like in the Q1 of 2025, because that kind of gets us really close to a cycle top. We can go above this red line, but once you start getting close to $200,000, you've exhausted probably all your upside potential. And I think we would be in for the beginning stages of a weakening bull market. It could happen. It's something we should prepare for. Personally, I would prefer to see this ranging kind of drag out into January, and sometime maybe in the middle of January, somewhere around there, kind of start to build back towards a higher move. I don't know if it'll take that long, but it certainly could. So a 1 month cool down is really not a big deal at all. I don't think we're in for anything like this, like a half a year broadening descending wedge. I don't see that happening. Just a little bit of a retrace and then boom, back up again. That's my base case. Okay, I've got the 10-week in purple and the 40-week in green, just looking at institutional moving averages. Of course, these are whole moving averages and not simple moving averages. I don't really use simple moving averages that often. I prefer the whole moving average, especially for Bitcoin. We're below the 10. We are below the 10, but we're above the 40. And I think we're very likely to bounce at the 40 or around the 40. And look at where it's creeping up to, guys. It's creeping up into the red zone. So everything is pointing to the zone between 84.5K and 88.5K for a bounce. And I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, I can't predict the future, but I can at least talk about what the probabilities are telling me. So I think something like this is probably going to play out. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to happen next week. I don't know if it's going to happen in by New Year's or whatever, but I think something kind of, maybe into the first week of January or something, that could be our dump, and, then right back up, I think, from there. And my hope is we don't get too far above the 1.414 fib, and then maybe we dump again, So this is kind of what I'm hoping happens, something like that. But I honestly don't know. Like, this could play out so differently than even what I'm anticipating. It's really unpredictable. But I do think Bitcoin is still in a bull market. And so I have to assume that whatever little bit of downtrend we have left here is probably not going to last for very long. And we could see a pretty quick move up. I mean, honestly, we really don't know exactly how that's going to materialize. But I do think Bitcoin will make it to the 1.414 fib, I think, by Q1 2025. Again, I'm hoping we don't make it to the 1.618, at least in the first quarter. I'd like to kind of wait until later in the year to get above the 1.618, just because we'll have more upside potential at that time. So weekly Bitcoin dominance, I have to assume that this is a dead cat bounce by dominance until proven otherwise. Um, I meant to turn on the Gaussian channel. We did have a nice bounce off of the top portion of the Gaussian channel, but this is not a bullish thing when this happens. This is bearish. This is the, I don't know. This looks like a top to me at around, the 61 point something percent level. This top could get taken out in 2025. It's possible. Could even get taken out now. We are above the 618 fib, and we have a weekly close coming up in just a few days. Today, well, actually today. Oh my gosh, it's already Sunday. So we have a weekly close, and honestly, if dominance closes above the 618, that is potentially not a great sign for altcoins. We could see, a double top, a slightly higher high. I talked about this in my last video. We are getting rejected at 60% dominance, but that doesn't mean that next week we'll get rejected there. So, if we turn on the stochastic oscillator for Bitcoin dominance and kind of see its momentum, just remembering that our bear market for dominance has barely just started. There could still be some significant bounces, and that looks like what we're getting here. We came all the way down the Gaussian channel. So the bullish structure of dominance is definitely breaking apart, but I don't think it's done yet. So let's see what happens. Could we see a higher high? We could, but either way, it's bearish. I think regardless of what forms here, the only way it wouldn't be bearish is if we shot way up like to the 786 fib or something like that. I mean, even then, it would still be bearish to me, just because I think it would roll over in a spectacular way if that happened. But that would be just gruelingly painful for altcoins. I'm more in line with like a double top at best, or slightly higher high, and then another rollover. I think that 2024 will be remembered as a Bitcoin year. I don't think 2025 will be. So the stochastic oscillator is showing some strength. Let's look at the wave trend also and see what's going on there with dominance, just to kind of, not the 3D. That one's hard. That one's a hard one to explain to you guys. It's one I do use sometimes, but I prefer this one. So it's kind of flat right now. We had all these red dots like all year long. This is just showing a weakening structure for Bitcoin dominance, which of course could still have some strength. I mean, you kind of see the downward region here sort of closing the gap. So we might see another move up. Like I said, could be a double top, slightly higher high. That is entirely possible. And that happening on a Bitcoin retrace really, really sucks for altcoins. So if you're holding altcoins, just be patient, because there may be some more pain yet to come, especially with the daily close above the 618 fib later today. So yeah, let's turn on the 4-hour and kind of see what the candles are looking like, just to get, I don't know if you need a 4-hour, maybe a daily might be better. Let's look at the daily. Not looking too good for us, is it? So we're getting up into the red Gaussian channel with some authority. So if this continues to go up, that's not really a good sign for our altcoins. When Bitcoin is dropping, this is not good at all, right, for your alts. Yeah, on the 4-hour, Gaussian channel's tightening. So yeah, none of this is a great sign, but at least this looks kind of like a bearish formation, maybe like not quite head and shoulders. Kind of hard to really call what exactly this is. Almost looks like a head and shoulders. But yeah, we'll have to see. This is going to really be an important weekly close. How does Bitcoin dominance look on the 2-week? On the 2-week still looks kind of, bullish, right? Like it just kind of dipped down. It's come back up. Look how tight that Gaussian channel is. So we really don't want to underestimate this Bitcoin dominance, but look at that. We kind of got through about halfway on the green Gaussian. I do think the bear market for dominance is starting. I do. I just don't know if we're going to get another run up into this green, deeper into this green zone. The worst case scenario for me is a stop at the 786 fib. That to me would mark the absolute top for Bitcoin dominance. And it would be kind of a surprising move for it to do that. Again, that's not really my base case, but we'll just have to see. People are getting scared. They're selling their altcoins, and that's just going to make Bitcoin dominance continue to go up. And, I don't think next week's going to really be a whole lot better. So Christmas week, I mean, I think like we're probably looking at another week of potential weakness in the market, and so we could see that double top from Bitcoin dominance. That's potentially an outcome great for 2025 if that happens, because I do imagine then we'll start the process of rolling over as we head into the end of the year and just finish off a really strong Bitcoin year. So to summarize my thoughts, I think that Bitcoin is very likely to correct to the 84.5 to 88,500 range sometime between now and maybe the first week of January. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the end of the year, but I really am not going to try to like time this thing because I'm not psychic and I can't do that. Just telling you what I think is going to happen. And then I think Bitcoin dominance is likely to potentially put in a double top. That remains to be seen, right? Let's look at what the weekly close is like today. It could put in double top next week if dominance continues to rise, but it could also just be a dead cat bounce. We don't know yet. We have to see. But being above a daily close above the 618 is a show of strength. So, but we could just straddle the 618, right? We don't have to go higher too. So, I mean, I really don't know. Dead cat bounce, double top, less likely to be a higher high especially at the 786 fib. I just don't see that kind of bullish momentum from dominance right now that maybe we saw earlier in the year. I don't see it anymore. Yeah, so I mean, overall, I think, and holding altcoins is just going to be a very painful exercise in patience as the year sort of comes to an end. I don't think that this month is really going to be looked back on as like a great month for altcoins, even though we had a very brief altcoin season sort of at the end of November into the beginning of December. It wasn't much, right? I think the bigger moves are coming, and I think they'll be here in Q1 of next year. Fun times, I think, are around the corner. It's going to be a great year for crypto, if I had to guess. So a lot of people are calling for an early end of the cycle. When I see this more prolonged cool off from Bitcoin, it makes me think that an early end of the cycle is not that likely. I think, we may get like a stretched out kind of version of 2017 where we get these longer ranging periods with each move up, but maybe each move up is not super dramatic like, it has been in the past. So that's a good sign that could really bring some life into the market and allow us to run deep into 2025, which is sort of my base case for now. The way I would change that, of course, is if we pump to like 180 to 200K in the first quarter or even the first half of 2025. That would definitely bring me pause and make me wonder, okay, like this bull market's probably pretty much, on its way out. So yeah, I'll just react to what the data brings, and that's all we really can do. So be sure to subscribe to my Telegram channel. Click on the link in the video description. I also have Twitter, I have Instagram, and I have TikTok. So check those links out as well. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and share around the videos. That helps a lot with the algorithm and with my reach. If you enjoy the content, I would appreciate the support. So it means a lot to me. So I'll see you again next time, and have a great rest of your weekend.